2 hours till
T
the
minus 3
liftoff.
hours preparation has already been done.
Yep. I mean, they will be staying in the spacecraft for more than 2 hours before the blast off.
Yes.
What kind of procedures will they go through at this stage?
Well, you know, there are a lot of work to do. So first, when all the 3 crew members has already entered the re-entry capsule, they must, with the help of the ground staff, they must close the hatch between the orbital module and the re-entry capsule. And then the hatch on the side of the orbital module will also be closed. And then another hatch on the payload fairing. So there are 3 hatches they need to close. And also, during this procedure, we must check if it is already formed the what we call the airtight sealings. So keeps the pressure of the inner volumes atmosphere is extremely critical to ensure the safety and life of our astronauts. And also, not only the airtight sealing of the cabin will be examined, but also their IVA spacesuit. After they close their helmet, face mask, they will also check this.
So on your right, we are seeing a great look of what's inside the re-entry module. That is where the 3 astronauts will be staying. Talk to us more about what are we seeing inside that capsule. What is that big yellow bag hanging on the wall?
You know, there are some cargoes together with the astronauts. Not only we need these cargoes for maybe, you know, that's because, you know, what you asked is in the re-entry capsule. So in the re-entry capsule, we also have some supplies for emergency escape, either during the liftoff or during the return. Because, you know, that in emergency case, they may splash down in the ocean or land in the desert. So they must have the supplies to, for instance, the food and water. And you know that even they have the pistol, a gun to protect them from the beast, wild beast they may meet.
Do they have a lifeboat in there?
Yes, actually, very, very professional. You know that the China cooperates with ESA in many years before, conducted a rescue training in the near the Shandong province, in the actually in the Yellow Sea or the near the Bohai. So this kind of training, they have a lifeboat, which can be inflamed very soon to save the lives of our astronauts in the ocean.
You can see all the 3 astronauts are seated by now. They're putting on their seat belts, their protection belts.
The yellow bags you see has also another very important function to adjust the position of the center of the mass of our re-entry capsule. Because you know that during the re-entry, the position of the centroid or the center of the mass is also very important to adjust a right trajectory of our re-entry procedure.
And right in front of their seats is a control panel.
Yes.
The buttons on that control panel are generally bigger than the usual ones.
Because they usually wear their gloves. So,
gloves.
So they must have big buttons.
Yeah, and they're further apart as well.
Yeah. And Mr. Ye Guangfu, the commander, sits in the middle. So in an emergency case, he is in charge of the judgment of the right choice.
They're putting all the stuff into that yellow bag, and that'll be removed from the re-entry module.
You may also notice that at this moment, all their helmets are open. Their face masks are open. But they will check if it can form an airtight sealing. If anything wrong happens to the IVA spacesuit, there will also be a termination of the mission. Because you know that this is a second protection. Also, this is a backup measure to ensure their safety, but still very, very important.
But this type of emergency stop never happened, right?
Yeah, never happened for us with China before.
Right.
But they do have a tragedy in the Soyuz 11 missions. You know, that during the Soyuz 11 missions in 1971, the 3 cosmonauts lost their lives because they don't have IVA spacesuits.
I would imagine they have to go through a number of emergency trainings, right? Tons of emergency trainings. Whereas there is an emergency in space, you don't really have much time to think. They have to make immediate actions. I mean, what types of major emergencies are out there at the space station?
Quite right. not only what you mentioned, but also you know that in this emergency situation, how to breathe, they also must be trained for this. And also, you know that it's relatively safe when they already in the orbit. But still, you know that I can still remember that during the Shenzhou 7 mission, there is a fake signal of the sensors that so Mr. Jing Haipeng called that there is a fire in the orbital module. So you can see how dangerous it is.
Yeah, fire, depressurization, leak of ammonia.
Yeah,
those are some
exactly.
of the risks.
Yeah. So what you mentioned, the leakage of the pipe is also a very important task for this Shenzhou 18 mission, because they will provide some protections during the EVA for the pipes and also the cables outside our Tiangong space station. Because we cannot afford that if any space debris hits these very critical parts.
What are they doing now? Looks like they're connecting some kind of pipes,
And,
tubes.
Yes, you know that there are all kinds of safety belt for them. They must fasten all the safety belts for them, because not only they will experience the G forces, but also have the intensive vibration during the ascent stage. And also they must check if everything goes okay. Not only what we already discussed about the IVA spacesuit, but also everything inside their cabin. You can see there are all kinds of instruments around them. We just heard the voice that the ground team is checking the theoretical trajectory of the rocket. So it is normal. All the procedures for the T-3 hours preparation has already been accomplished.
Yeah. Actually, in about 3 to 4 minutes, it's going to be T-2 hours. We're getting closer to the blast off.
So the launch procedure is not only the business of the spacecraft or the astronauts, but a big system. The whole system includes not only the launch site, the Shenzhou spacecraft, the rocket, but also the telemetry control and also other communication stations in China, and also some of the space tracking ships in the Pacific Ocean.
Do they have entertainment activities other than work? Do they have off days when they're in space?
Well, you see that I can still remember that Mr. Yu Guangfu, you know that he's a former crew member of the Shenzhou 30 mission. I can still remember that during the just several hours before the Shenzhou 30 mission, Yaping, who is also the crew member of the Shenzhou 30 mission, just posted in the WeChat moment. It is a good entertainment for her.
Oh, yeah.
But this also shows that she's full of confidence. Even at this moment, she can post the WeChat moment.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that long stick Yu Guangfu is using.
So that's because you know that will be fastened the seat belt in the basin, and if they want to push the buttons, they need use this one.
What kind of food will they have up there? Do they get to choose their own meal plans?
They also have food inside this re-entry capsule, but they don't have the heaters to eat the hot food at this stage, because that's the what we call a kitchen is in the orbital module. So only when they already come into the orbit and open the hatch between the orbital module and the re-entry capsule, at this moment they can have some hot food.
And I suppose they cannot take showers when they're up there, huh?
Not only during this flight in the Shenzhou spaceship, but also no chance in the space station. They will wipe their skin.
Sponge bath.
Yeah, exactly.
Professor Ni earlier mentioned that how will they be, having haircuts?
Right.
They will help each other. each was trained for this.
So they do a lot of training. Yeah, you
kinds
can
of
see,
stuff.
all kinds of training for their daily life, for very professional missions, right?
To just daily life tasks.
Yeah, daily life tasks could be very different in space in those microgravity conditions, right? And if you are not well trained, some very regular behaviors on Earth with regular gravity might be very dangerous in space, actually. Yeah.
And Professor Nie, you actually work in the field of AI and brain-computer interface. You mentioned some of the experiments that they are bringing to space include experiments on brain-computer interface.
Right, because they're going to do all kinds of studies, frontier research in the space station. Part of them is actually doing the understanding of human condition and especially the brain condition. Yeah, the technology of brain-machine interface that a lot of our colleagues at Tsinghua University, at Tianjin University, Shanghai Jiaotong University are doing work on investigating how human brain is actually functioning in space, and can we actually use those to help and monitor the health condition. Yeah.
Okay, we just heard from the ground commander, T-2 hours and counting.
So what kind of experiment outcomes are you most looking forward to?
I'm actually looking forward to the new animal experiments like the zebrafish experiments I've just explained, and also some stem cell experiments of plants, because that'll lead to new understanding of how are we gonna grow new possible plants on Earth, and also there will be a lot of material science and mechanics and also space health experiments I think in this batch of research. Yeah, we'll see a lot of them. But my personal favorite would be seeing the human-related research on understanding, protecting the astronauts.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're hearing words. Our reporter Sun Ye is following the Shenzhou 18 launch on the ground at the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center. She is joining us live now. Sun Ye, what do you have for us now?
Hey there, Qiuyuan. I'm saying hello to you again at perhaps the best viewing point for the spectacle this evening. We are again 1.5 kilometers away from the launch pad. We are 1.5 kilometers away from the rocket, and this is really the closest layman can get. But still, as you see, the rocket is still wrapped in those rotation platforms. It's still protected. As the launch gets even nearer, those rotation platforms will unwrap one by one. Now, as you already know, the taikonauts, they are getting into the Shenzhou spaceship I think right now. And even if we cannot see the spaceship, we have someone who can tell us all about the Shenzhou spaceship, even with her eyes closed. Now we have Miss Luo Guqing. She's with China Academy of Space Technology, and it's a really rare privilege to have her here while on mission. 谢谢您了。
How are they feeling right now? So right now we could talk about the three taikonauts already inside the airships. For three taikonauts, they have well prepared, and also during the design phase we also had a thorough consideration about the living condition and also the whole temperature inside around 26 degrees, and also the humidity is also quite nice, so it's similar as we stay inside the room. So we believe the taikonauts actually feel nothing different from the ground. Yes, indeed, as you mentioned, it's very comfortable inside. So can we compare to other means of that the vehicles or transportation means? So think about like airplane. And we believe that, of course, you compare to economic, the seats that we talk about, that's the very comfortable for even more comfortable for technonauts. So every time when we visited this place to witness the blast off of the Shenzhou aircraft and also the rockets, anything changed this time for this mission specifically? So for Shenzhou, that's the manned spaceship. For us, it's a mean of transportation. So for us, actually, the whole type or series of the Shenzhou, actually, that's already that fix used for more than 3 decades. For us, the main purpose for these aircraft, the airship, is for sending the technonauts to the space. Of course, we have made improvements along with the advancement of the technologies. And we talk about each and every improvement that has gone through rounds of tests on ground and also in space. So this time, talking about that the improvements, I believe 2 things I would like to share with you. One thing is the solar panel cells. And this time we changed to the lithium cells. So they can charge even faster and lighter weight and also smaller in size. So for the same continent, actually show more benefits and also actually can get adapted to different kinds of environment. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time to talk about that, how that we feel when that technonaut sitting inside, and also the improvements made this time for the mission. And we will very soon see that the technonauts will be in the space and wait for their feelings to share with us. Thank you very much.
Now, Ms. Luo, just share with us what does it feels like to be riding in that spaceship. Now, earlier we've also talked to a rocket expert, and he said that riding the Long March 2F manned carrier rocket, it's something like driving or staying in a Mercedes-Benz. It's comfortable, it's smooth. You only get that extra G when you've gone for a while. Now, I have one more piece of good news for tonight. Now, it's windy and it's still bright sunlight right now, but tonight it's a full moon night. And we've just checked. The moonrise is somewhere around 2030. So I think it's fair reason that we can tone up our expectation for tonight a little bit more.
Wow, it's nice that we can get a view of the full moon as the backdrop of this rocket launch. That'll be really incredible. Thank you very much, seeing it live for us at the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center. We're now watching our special coverage of the launch of China's Shenzhou 18 crewed mission. The 3 taikonauts have entered the cabin, and the spaceship will blast off from the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center in less than 2 hours. So stay tuned to that. And before that, I'll hand things over to my colleague Xiaocheng for some major news making headlines across the world. Xiaocheng.
Thank you, Qiu Yuan. So first up, China has reaffirmed
Okay, folks. Papa D here from David Deliver Space. Just wanted to step in and say good morning from here in Central Florida. Just bringing to you the broadcast from China of the Shenzhou 18 launch that will be taking 3 of their astronauts to the Tiangong space station. Flight is scheduled for 8:59 Eastern Daylight Time, 20:59 Beijing time. And we've got about an hour plus, close to just under 2 hours actually till launch. But just wanted to bring you the feed. We are appreciative of being able to access this feed. They are running a couple different links, of course, one in China, the Chinese link, and the other with the American speaking announcers. So we appreciate that, and we thank the China Central Television, which is CCTV, for the broadcast of their launch this morning, and over there it's this evening. Just going to go ahead and just bring you this live feed. We also have a launch this evening that we'll be carrying, or actually this afternoon, I believe. This was a Starlink launch, I believe. No, that's the one that we have coming after that. We have a very big schedule this week. But we have a launch out of Vandenberg at about 2:30. And that's the Worldview Legion 1 and 2 satellites. And that is going to be, again, we'll be going live somewhere around approximately 2 o'clock. That's Eastern Daylight Time. If you want the particulars on that launch, you can check the channel. You can check to be notified, and we'll let you know when we go live with that launch also. But again, that's going to be out of the Vandenberg Space Force Base at about 2:30 today. Got a pretty full calendar coming up. On Saturday, we actually have 2 launches. The Galileo FOC FM 25 and 27 mission out of Kennedy. That's going to be a SpaceX Falcon 9 Block 5. And also a Starlink Group 8-2 that'll be launching out of Vandenberg. That's also Saturday. First launch will be at 8:34 p.m. Second launch out of Vandenberg will be 10:54 p.m. And, of course, those are both Eastern Daylight Time. So we'll have a full Saturday if you want to stop by. And we'll be carrying both of those launches. And, again, all the particulars are on the channel. You can check to be notified, and we'll certainly let you know when we go live. And, again, what we're monitoring right now is the Shenzhou 18 launch, taking 3 of their astronauts to the space station, to their Tiangong space station. This shot is, of course, the China Aerospace Science Aerotechnology Corporation, so it's the government of China. Atop of Long March 2 F/G. And this launch is out of the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center in China. So we'll just go ahead and carry this. I'd like to thank, again, the parties that are able to bring this to us, the Chinese Space Agency for providing the footage, allowing us the ability to access and certainly use that to entertain and educate our public and educate our viewers. It's good to see something a little bit different, how the counterparts over there handle their launches. It's very similar in a certain degree to what you see in a Soyuz launch. The capsules are very, very similar. You can see by the configuration, the seating configuration, it is certainly not a Falcon 9, that is for sure. But I want to thank them for that. We appreciate always having those feeds. We want to thank our subscribers. Any new subscribers, please feel free to subscribe, like, view, and watch those videos. It helps us with the analytics, helps us grow with Facebook, YouTube. I think it's time for another cup of coffee for Papa D with YouTube. And those analytics help us grow and get further out to the public so we can have more people enjoy these launches and educate. And if you do have a moment, if you'd like to support the channel, you can head out to daviddeliverspace.shop. I'll make sure that is listed on the page. Okay. And it is store. Yeah, the daviddeliverspace.store, and that is the Papa D's shop. And there's a whole lot of merch out there, and that goes to help support us on the channel, help support the equipment upgrades and bandwidth and all, so we can keep bringing these launches to you. So if you have an opportunity, again, shoot out to daviddeliverspace.store and pick a little something up. All kinds of cool merch out there. But we do thank you all for coming out. We thank all of our subscribers. And please, if you're not a subscriber, take a look. And if you so are inclined, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. So with that, we will go on standby. Papa D's going to go grab another cup of coffee. And at this point in time, we're looking at T0, double check the time here, about an hour and 44 minutes. And that is for the Shenzhou 18. So go ahead and enjoy the video. They should be coming back with their commentary after their news feed break. And then we'll kick back in here later on. Any updates, we'll certainly notify you. And enjoy. Have a great morning.
号注意，我是景山。景山出轨根数及分离点参数已发出。东风。
东风收到。
华山。华山收到。
各号注意，我是东风，各号请收集第一次综合检查情况。景山。
景山明白。
华山。
华山明白。
08号。
第一次综合检查正常。
太原。
第一次综合检查正常。
渭南。
第一次综合检查正常。
青岛。
第一次综合检查正常。
酒泉。
第一次综合检查正常。
千山。
第一次综合检查正常。
商城。
第一次综合检查正常。
5号。
第一次综合检查正常。
东风，我是景山。
我是东风，景山请讲。
景山、江阴、天路及长江7号第一次综合检查正常。
东风明白。
东风，我是华山。
我是东风，华山请讲。
华山第一次综合检查正常。
东风明白。 北京东风报告。
我是北京东风，请讲。
各号注意，我是东风，收集航天员进舱后话音检查准备情况。北京。
状态准备完毕。
酒泉。
状态准备完毕。
0号，我是东风。话音检查准备完毕。
0号明白。
航天员叶光富，
航天员李聪，
航天员李广苏，出发！
是，敬礼。
东风，我是0号，航天员进舱后话音检查正常。
东风明白。北京东风报告。
我是北京东风，请讲。
各号注意，我是东风，话音检查正常。北京。
北京明白。
酒泉。
明白。
All right, folks, Papa D here. And just checking back in, we are again watching the live feed of the Shenzhou 18 launch atop a Long March 2FG, launched by the Chinese Aerospace Science and Technology Corporation, heading to their space station, which is named the Tiangong Space Station. We are looking right now at a T0 of about an hour and 26 minutes. From what we can tell and what we've been told so far, everything looks good. We're all nominal. Launch is scheduled to take place at approximately 8:59 this morning. That's Eastern Daylight Time. And we are monitoring the feed as provided by the Chinese Central Television Agency. We appreciate that. We appreciate the opportunity to share this launch with our viewers. Again, continuing just wanting to educate the public about all the exciting things going on around the globe. Certainly we broadcast a lot of SpaceX, and as the number one provider right now in the world, that's kind of hard not to do. But it's nice to see a little bit of a different perspective on manned space launch. And as I said before, you can see this is very akin to the Soyuz capsule and the Soyuz configurations for a lot of reasons. But thanks again for the feed being provided out so we can share that with our viewers. Hope you're all having a great Thursday so far. Beautiful day here in Central Florida. Expecting another beautiful day. We have a lot of them down here. Helps us with all the launches coming out of the Cape. We have one of those coming off this Saturday. If you want to check back, we've got that all listed on the channel. And again, we try to put all the launches out there on the channel ahead of time so you can hit the notify button and not miss any coverage that we are able to provide you. So with that, again, just wanted to check in. We are looking again at a T0, approximately an hour and 24 minutes. And we'll check back in with any updates. Thanking again our subscribers, any new subscribers. We appreciate your confidence, and we'd love to have you as a member of the family if you're not already. But for now, enjoy the coverage that's been provided to us, and we will check back in again with anything further updates that we need to share. Talk to you soon, and have a continued great morning. Hey everybody, just thought I'd step in here and as you can see I was able to bring up a satellite weather view right there in the center where that dot is. That is it's near anyway, very close to the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center. So at this point there's a lot of weather over that way, a lot of heavy overcast, but or a lot of cloud overcast, anything. But when I add in the radar, you can see there is some storms in the area. So just thought you'd be interested in seeing that, and we'll leave that up for a bit. Keep the map running for you all in the corner. And again, we're looking right now. Nothing's changed as far as timing. About an hour and 16, hour and 17 minutes out from T0. Clock's still running. So we'll check back in here with more news. Take care.
北京景山报告。
我是北京景山，请讲。
景山报告测量船当前海况及2小时准备情况。长江7号海况4级，浪高1.5米，风力2级，能见度15公里。景山天路长江7号2小时准备完毕。景山报告完毕。
北京明白。
北京华山报告。
我是北京华山，请讲。
华山2小时准备完毕。
北京明白。
各号注意，收集2小时准备情况。0号。
2小时准备完毕。
太原。
2小时准备完毕。
渭南。
2小时准备完毕。
青岛。
2小时准备完毕。
酒泉。
2小时准备完毕。
青山。
2小时准备完毕。
双城。
2小时准备完毕。
5号。
2小时准备完毕。
天桑。
2小时准备完毕。
北京东风报告。
我是北京东风，请讲。
东风2小时准备完毕，报告完毕。
北京明白。
important point for the launch procedure. You see now on the right of the screen is the camera, video camera mounted in the re-entry capsule, and you can see that all the 3 crew members of the Shenzhou 18 have already been ready.
That is
and now you can see the launch service tower. You may notice that at this moment,
gotta mention the call out.
Yes,
it's now
and you may
officially
notice it's
less
very
than
interesting.
1 hour to
Look,
go.
the top platform, there are 4 platforms on the launch service tower, but the one on the top has already been rotated, opened. So you may notice that at this moment, the emergency escape tower has opened to the space. So if anything wrong happened, we can use the emergency escape system to save the lives of our astronauts.
What kind of procedures have been completed by now? I mean, have the
moment, all the hatches has already been closed, and the airtight ceilings has already been attached. And from the astronaut system or from the mainly from the Shenzhou spaceship systems, still do some logistics for the launch. And just several minutes later, all of them is withdrawn from the launch complex. But at this moment, still, as you mentioned, the checking is still going on. So there are, millions of parts and components in the carrier rocket and also in the Shenzhou spaceships. So we must ensure the reliability and the proper procedure of every subsystem. So the checking are very, very necessary for different systems. So this is still going on.
Yeah, weather looks quite nice. We've got clear sky. It's getting dark. And for more details at what's happening there at the launch site, we can now go live to our reporter Sun Ye, live for us near the launch pad. Sun Ye, bring us the latest. What is happening right now?
Hey there, Qiuyuan. Hello again from 1.5 kilometers from the launch pad. I have to break a bit of sad news to you. Remember, we were talking about today is a full moon's day, and the moonrise is somewhere near 9 o'clock in the evening. Now we just checked the weather, the clouds, they're kind of too cloudy, so we're not necessarily going to see the moon tonight, but we'll wait. We are still keeping our hopes high. But in the moment since we last talked, we also talked to an expert, and he said the 3 taikonauts now in the capsule, they're doing just fine. They're monitoring the Shenzhou 18 crew's heart rates, they're breathing, and they're calm, and they are fine. Now, the experts say today's taikonauts, they're essentially responsible and expected to do everything their predecessors have done and more. And this year, we really get a sense of what that more really means. Now, China Manned Space Agency said yesterday that today's active taikonauts, as well as future taikonauts, including the 4th generation of taikonauts that's already being selected. These people, they're not going to only work for China's space station, they're also going to be preparing for China's manned lunar missions. And those manned lunar missions means a whole different set of skills required of Chinese taikonauts. They're going to be operating a different spaceship, a spaceship for the moon. They're going to do a lot of maneuvers different from what they've been preparing for China Space Station. Also, they are going to be operating lunar rovers for long distance on the moon. So there are a lot of things happening right now as the Shenzhou 18 crew ready for their mission. And these people could also someday make it to the moon. Qiuyuan.
Very exciting now. Thank you very much. So you're live for us near the launch pad at Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center. We're officially less than 1 hour to go till the liftoff, and to learn more about the spacecraft carrying the Shenzhou 18 mission, reporter Zheng Yibing talked to a senior researcher for the spacecraft system. We'll bring you more details and live coverage of the launch later this hour. But before that, I'll hand you over now to my colleague Xiaocheng for some of the top news making headlines around the world. Xiaocheng.
Thank you, Qiuyuan. First up, Chinese President Xi Jinping has called for building world-class military medical universities to serve Chinese troops. He made the remarks during a visit to the Army Medical University in Chengdu.
是东风，各号请收集第2次综合检查情况。景山。
景山明白。
华山。
华山明白。
08号。
第2次综合检查正常。
太原。
第2次综合检查正常。
渭南。
第2次综合检查正常。
青岛。
第2次综合检查正常。
酒泉。
第2次综合检查正常。
天山。
第2次综合检查正常。
双城。
第2次综合检查正常。
5号。
第2次综合检查正常。
东风，我是华山。东风，我是景山。
我是东风，景山请讲。我是东风，景山请讲。
景山江阴天路长江7号第2次综合检查正常。
东风明白。
东风，我是华山。
我是东风，华山请讲。
华山第2次综合检查正常。
东风明白。
北京景山报告。
我是北京景山请讲。
景山报告测量船当前海况及1小时准备情况。长江7号海况4级，浪高1.5米，风力2级，能见度15公里。景山天路长江7号1小时准备完毕。景山报告完毕。
北京明白。
北京华山报告。
我是北京华山请讲。
华山1小时准备完毕。
北京明白。
各号注意，收集1小时准备情况。0号。
1小时准备完毕。
太原。
1小时准备完毕。
渭南。
1小时准备完毕。
青岛。
1小时准备完毕。
酒泉。
1小时准备完毕。
天山。
1小时准备完毕。
双城。
1小时准备完毕。
5号。
1小时准备完毕。
天仓。
1小时准备完毕。
北京东风报告。
我是北京东风请讲。
东风1小时准备完毕，报告完毕。
北京明白。东风，我是北京。
东风到。
全区各号1小时准备完毕，30分钟准备及后续口令由你下达。东风。
东风明白。0号，我是东风。
0号到。
全区各号1小时准备完毕，30分钟准备及后续口令由你下达。
明白。神舟，我是0号。现在起，神舟18号由0号指挥。
All right, everybody. Hope you're still having a good day. We're about, I believe, about 32 minutes out from the launch of the Shenzhou 18 from China. It's at the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center in China. This is launching 3, they call them taikonauts, as opposed to astronauts. 3 taikonauts to their space station. The launch, again, is going off in about 31, just shy of 32 minutes if it's an on-time T0. And this, again, will be launching their guys up to the Tiangong space station. There was some talk about future missions and working towards moon missions and whatnot. This is a stepping stone for them to learn. And at least that's what they indicated before the audio went down on it. But we are appreciative of the feed that they are allowing to be provided out so we can continue to inspire and educate. I want to thank all of you that have come out this morning to view this launch, this live event. Again, we see a whole lot of SpaceX, but they're the #1 provider right now in the world. As a matter of fact, we have another SpaceX launch going off this afternoon out of Vandenberg. So if you want to stop by, that'll be about 2:30 Eastern Time. The calendar is pretty full, moving through the next couple of weeks. A whole lot going on. So please check out the channel. Try to keep all of the launches.
Except for the last part that is enclosing the spacecraft.
You see, for the launch complex, we built that in 1990s. It has 4 rotational platforms, but very interesting, the first one on the top will be opened. And then
all right. We are up and down on that feed, but again, thank you to them for providing this. Thank you to our subscribers. Please subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and visit the store if you'd like to support the channel. It's daviddeliverspace.store. And let's switch back over to the English audio coming from the Shenzhou 18 launch.
T-minus 30 minutes. Yes, that is the spacecraft. You can see this is the fairing covering the spacecraft. And right now the 3 astronauts are strapped in. The weather looks quite nice, Professor. So what would be an ideal weather for launch?
The ideal would be we have clear air, we have no wind or very little windy days, we have low humidity, and of course we don't want it to be a rainy day or even lightning. We want to keep clear from all the lightning or other, say, extreme conditions.
Now, space launches, it's said that they don't usually take place in April because of the risk of strong winds and sandstorms. So they are taking a bit of a risk here.
Yeah, I think because of usually in the spring, even we're in Beijing, we feel the weather changing dramatically in April. Yeah, that's pretty much the same in the northern part of China. Yeah, so usually they try to prevent this period, but as Professor Yang mentioned, they have specific reasons for a lot of prerequisites need to meet in order to fit the schedule of the launching.
One important factor we must consider is that because in this operation phase of our Tiangong space station, we must have 2 rocket launch in the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center. The interval is half a year. So maybe one of the season is, for instance, August will be very ideal. But if we launch that Shenzhou space station in August, which means that after 6 months, it will be in winter, extremely cold weather. So that will be not very feasible. So the most ideal choice will be one in spring and the other in autumn. So that will be better, not too bad for us.
This is a great view of the rocket. You can see the full rocket by now. Is the rocket running on its own?
No, at this moment you can see that they're not, although already all the rotational platforms has already leaving the rocket, but you can still see some small arms, mechanical arms connected to the launch vehicle. As I mentioned before, there are a lot of cables, pipes, and other connections to the launch vehicle. So at this moment, still we use the electricity from the ground. So this is to save the energy in the storage batteries inside, either inside the carrier rocket and also inside the spacecraft. So only several minutes before the flight, we change the power supply from the ground electricity power supply to the inner storage batteries. So this is also obviously is a very critical procedure for the launch, but you know that usually nothing serious. But not only this, you know that we choose what we call the hypergolic propulsion system, which use the UDMH or unsymmetrical dimethyl hydrazine and nitrogen tetroxide as the fuel and oxidizer. For both these propellants can work in room temperature, so very convenient for use, but it is toxic and corrosive. So you may notice in the Wenchang spacecraft launch site, we use another choice, use cryogenic propulsion system, which use liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen.
And when will the team be leaving the launch tower?
I believe most of the ground staff now at this moment has already left the launch complex, but maybe still remains, because you know that they leave the launch complex with different batches. So some are in charge of certain subsystems. When their task has been accomplished, they will leave. And then maybe some critical systems still need the logistics, so they will leave at the last moment.
And the safe
maybe
zone,
10 minutes or 15 minutes before the flight.
The safe zone is at least 1.5 kilometers away, and we are a little more than 25 minutes prior to the launch. The Shenzhou 18 crew is taking a self-sufficient ecosystem with it to the China Space Station. The experiment they would be working on involved the second most complex vertebrate the space station has ever seen. Sun Ye has this report.
4 zebrafish, 2 females, 2 males, a bunch of hornwort. In a watertight fish tank, the size of 2 or 3 water bottles, China Space Station's first experiment on vertebrates other than human beings looks something like this. The project on aquatic life support system in space is part of the many science studies the Shenzhou 18 mission will undertake. Professor Wang Gaohong, one of the scientists behind this lively experiment, says the aim is to keep the small ecosystem self-sufficient, where the homeward conducts photosynthesis with LED light and let the fish be alive and happy for a month. So happy that they may lay eggs.
Taikonauts would take care of the fish tank. For instance, if the fish lay eggs, they will help in collecting the eggs. They will also take water samples. We will monitor the changes in the water samples. We will also videotape the fish tank and see how the fish behave.
Wang said the scientists prefer that the group stays limited to 4, lest a bigger crowd crashes the system. But even if it's small size-wise, the self-circulating ecosystem could be telling the scientists something big.
Zebrafish are lab rats in water, and they're quite close to us humans. They share over 80% of our genes. Some human diseases can be studied using zebrafish as model organisms. Since water occupies such a large part of our Earth, in the long term, the study of this aquatic ecosystem would help us better understand the Earth's ecosystem.
In time, the experiment could also lead to some real-life use in space. Wang said fishes are efficient sources of food, and if they can be farmed in space, they could be a good source of protein for astronauts. Wang also said the team is eyeing to scale up the experiment in the future, where fish can live a whole life cycle in space, from egg to another egg. 深夜40天酒泉甘肃 Province.
So Professor Sui, you're pretty excited about the studies on zebrafish in space. What kind of real life implications would that have on our daily lives?
So as we discussed, I think about 2 hours ago, that this experiment is very excited, is bringing this very vibrant fish to the space. So zebrafish is a very important animal model for biological study. in the field of say animal study, we have fruit flies, zebrafish, mice to be the very standard used animals to study a variety of different diseases and also biological processes of animals. And zebrafish as the very simple but also very close to our human a vertebrate comparing to fruit flies. They are non-vertebrate. But in the future, we may have more complicated, complex biological systems in the space. But this is actually a very important and very complex species in the space. As the reporter mentioned, is we actually share 80% of our genes with zebrafish. And zebrafish, our scientists has already sequencing the whole genome of this animal. Yeah, so the study of this animal can go into very details on the behavior level, on their mechanics and biological micro scale level, and also on the very micro, say about their genes, about their molecules on that level too.
What other studies or scientific experiments have caught your eye?
The others are some stem cell experiments. Although those I would expect one day there are animal stem cell experiments, but right now they're doing plants stem cell experiments in space, because on Earth we know that stem cells are the very important cells that can grow into any specific cell type. Into our body or into the animal or the plant, right? So understanding their behavior besides our regular gravity condition in those microgravity space would probably lead to some new findings on how they grow and how they prosper. Yeah, and probably will lead to a future of, say, better economy of plants. Yeah.
Now, other than these scientific experiments, another major task for these crew members are major maintenance upgrades, right? They would use some of the spacewalks to do some maintenance work and make the spacecraft more collision-proof and crash-proof. Talk to us more about that. What kind of risk will the space station face while they're in orbit?
Well, Chuan, you may still remember during the live coverage of the Shenzhou 17 mission, we mentioned that the Shenzhou 17 mission conducted the first maintenance during the EVA, actually speaking, to repair our solar panels in the Tiangong 1 core module. This is because, you know, that according to the announcement yesterday by Mr. Lin Xiqiang, some parts of our solar panels on the Tiangong 1 core module were damaged by the space debris because it's already orbiting the Earth for more than 3 years. So it is a serious problem. You see that only some unimportant parts were impacted by this debris. So nothing serious happened, but still we recovered the function of the solar panels by our EVA. But you cannot be sure that for the next 10 years, some of the space debris may hit the critical parts of our Tiangong space station. We have a lot of pipes, cables, and other critical things outside our station. And the important thing is that these parts are very critical for the normal operation of our space station. Also, you know that during the live coverage of the EVA of the previous mission before, we have the operation of mounting some motors for the cooling system of Tiangong space station, some pumps. And these pumps are also very important to keep the thermal control or keep the temperature very normal inside the station. But you know that there are coolant inside these pipes. If it was heat, there will be leakage. Very, very terrible. So we must protect these pipes and also some very critical cables, either for the maintenance or for the scientific research. So what you mentioned, this step is very, very necessary. So this will be one of the major tasks of our Shenzhou 18 crew. I believe that they will already been well trained for this.
Yeah, as you were speaking, we were looking at live pictures near the launch pad. There were huge crowds of people watching, waiting for the liftoff, watching the historic moment with us. Now, as we speak, the 3 astronauts are already in position, strapped in. not much of a movement there. They are quietly waiting for, the final procedures, the final checks up. We're approaching 15 minutes prior to launch.
Yes.
And you mentioned Shenzhou 17 crew, right? The Shenzhou 18 crew will be welcomed by their peers from the Shenzhou 17 crew.
There is a very, very interesting experience of the Shenzhou actually speaking, Shenzhou 17 crew and Shenzhou 16 crew. You know that during the launch of the Shenzhou 17 spacecraft, you know that Shenzhou 16 crew is watching the live coverage inside Tiangong Space Station. And when your colleagues of the CMG see this video, and she, actually Ms. Lao Chunyan, say hello to Mr. Jing Haipeng, the commander. And it is very interesting that Jing Haipeng react to her greeting. So
it's
this
like
shows that the communication between our Tiangong Space Station and the ground is already very, very powerful now.
Very smooth connection there. I'm sure the Shenzhou 17 crew are watching
the live coverage.
The live coverage of this launch as well. With our Mandarin service, we might be able to see them later in the program. Very exciting moments.
Yeah. Because we know that we have the Tianlian data relay satellite. At this moment, we have both the first generation and the second generation Tianlian data relay satellite. So we can have multiple video streams, very high definition video streams, multiple from the cameras mounted in everywhere inside our Tiangong Space Station to give these videos to the ground. So we can, during this live coverage, not only the astronaut inside our Tiangong Space Station can see the launch procedure, but also we can see they are watching the live coverage.
Yeah, so the Shenzhou 17 crew and Shenzhou 18 crew will conduct another in-orbit handover.
Yes.
So we will see 6 astronauts in the space station at a time. Will that be a challenge?
This will be the 4th time we see this historical moment between the Shenzhou 17 crew and the Shenzhou 18 crew. That will be a very exciting moment, but not so exciting as the first one, because you know that we've already been very practical for this procedure, and also you know that to support and to realize this moment, we need the support from the what we call the regenerative life environmental control and life support system, because it is it can recycle all the resources, the water, oxygen, and so on. So at this moment, still you can see, usually in most cases, we can see the video camera mounted inside our re-entry capsule. Usually the commander and his companions usually sometimes read the manuals. You may notice that the manual not only includes the operations, the guidance of what they should do next, but also it has information, very necessary information when something wrong happens, what they should do.
Yeah, that's the call out. T-minus 15 minutes. And we've noticed that all the Shenzhou 18 crew were selected from 2010 and 2020. That's the second batch and the third batch of astronauts. And we're hearing rumors that the selection process for the 4th batch of astronauts will be finished soon. When do you think these new taikonauts will start their mission?
调度直通波，金山。
金山明白。
华山。
华山明白。
You know, that's during the 3rd batch of our astronauts, we already have flight engineers and payload experts. Mr. Gui Haichao from the Beijng University is the first payload expert. So in the future, because our technology becomes more and more practical and the Shenzhou space becomes more and more comfortable, so I believe professors like Mr. Sui maybe will be more and more of these scientists like him to go to the outer space.
Like a payload
expert.
And according to authorities, it's very likely that these new astronauts could be a part of the moon landing mission in the very near future.
Well, according to Mr. Yang Liwei, our first astronaut, he mentioned to the major media of China that all the astronauts chosen for the human missions to the moon will first have their experience inside our Tiangong Space Station. Right. So this is a necessary requirement raised by ourselves. Yeah. I believe, as I mentioned, their experience in the Tiangong Space Station for half a year will be very, very helpful for them for the future moon missions, although the procedure is quite different.
And there were several candidates from Hong Kong and Macau making it to the final stages of the selection process. So, you know, we could see new astronauts from these regions very soon. Let's get more updates from the launch pad. We can now go live to our reporter, Sun Ye. Sun Ye, great to see you. Also, Huang Yue is joining us from the Beijing Aerospace Control Center. Hey, great to see you too. So let's start with Sun Ye. Walk us through the preparations prior to the launch. We're getting really close. How are the astronauts doing now?
Hey there, Jiuquan, and hello again. Yes, the preparation is going at the last stage right now. It's minus 15 minutes until the launch. So throughout the last half an hour or so, we're seeing the last fires of cars leaving, and that means the rocket and everything in it is pretty much on its own, and they are ready. And then the astronauts, we earlier checked in with an expert with the astronaut system, and he said the Shenzhou 18 crew, they're doing fine. They're breathing all right. Their heart rates are fine. Now, this is only probably the only chance we'll get to see the rocket here in its hull and this spectacular scene. I think maybe it's all right if we take around a minute or so to have a good look, a last look at it before it goes up to space. Now, this Long March 2F manned carrier rocket, it actually came in compartments, in pieces, and was carried by train from northern China to here in Jiuquan in northwest China. And I think you're getting a better picture than me now, and I'm going to walk you through how this beautiful rocket is put together. Now, the first step is to put the corn stage 1. That's the first thing to get stable, and then the 4 boosters, they are then attached to it, and then that's the corn stage 2. The spaceship along with the fairing, they are close together in another place before they are transported to meet the other 2 stages already done. And the last item in that assembly is the escape tower. Now, the rocket has been in great condition ever since that assembly, and we have seen it rolled out earlier last week. And ever since then, it's checks and rechecking done by people across the systems. We also just talked to an expert with the rocket system. His work up until now is still checking that the rockets are fine, and the rocket is fine, and the spaceship is fine so far as we know. So everything is set for the launch that's happening in a few minutes.
Thank you very much. And as you were speaking, Shenye, the launch time has been adjusted, has been moved up a little bit, just a little bit. Now, turning to you, Huang Yue, the Beijing Aerospace Control Center is overseeing Shenzhou 18th launch. What's the latest there?
Yes, Jiuquan, the launch time is just around the corner, only a few minutes left. So here in the Beijing Aerospace Control Center, every staff member is busy making the last-minute preparations, as it's the command and information exchange center to ensure that every step and every aspect of the mission runs smoothly. So we're now actually on the 3rd floor of the center, and on the 1st floor is the ground control team, and which is mainly responsible for the control and command over all working systems, such as those on the rockets, the spacecraft, the space station, and the launch site. And actually, if you and our audience once followed our previous missions, you might have already known that this team has a very special nickname called Beijing Copy, because this phrase once became so popular on Chinese social media platforms because it's going to be used so frequently and repeatedly in the hall after launching. And actually, I arrived here hours earlier before the launch because, to be honest, this is also the first time for me to cover the launch mission. So I came here earlier trying to get more familiar with the situation. And one of the things that impressed me the most is that the team members here are quite young, and many of them are in their 30s or even 20s. So you can tell that people born in the 1990s have already become the main workforce for China's aerospace industry, and they're so calm and confident. It doesn't mean that they won't get nervous. Of course they could be, but they won't show that because they've already had a vigorous trainings and tests, and they are professional enough, they are intelligent enough to deal with any situation. So from them, you can see a very promising future for China's aerospace industry. And in addition to the ground control team, behind me there were 2 screens. As you can see, one shows the launch site and the other one shows a return capsule. And inside there are 3 taikonauts, the Shenzhou 17 crew members, and they are making the final preparation and waiting for their colleagues to come and meet with them. And I was told that they can actually watch the live broadcast of the mission. But of course, they are watching the CCTV 30, the Mandarin channel. But next time, I do suggest that they watch CGTN special live coverage, because I'm not worried about their language skills. And I believe they must also be very excited, because after a 6-month business trip to space, on the end of this month, they will come down back to Earth and they will meet their friends, families, and colleagues. Back to you, Qiu-Yuan.
Thank you very much, Huang Yue, live for us in Beijing there. Now, medical protective measures are important for taikonauts to stay in space for a long time. And for the Shenzhou 18 mission, these are already in place. Li Yinghui, Deputy Chief Designer of the Astronaut System of China's Manned Space Program, explains how these measures keep taikonauts healthy in space.
For the Shenzhou 18 mission, we took personalized medical protection measures to keep our taikonauts healthy. This proved effective in the second space trip for Ye Guangfu this time. What's more, for this mission, we conducted a series of medical experiments in space. They cover several aspects. For example, we've done in-depth research on health assessment model building on the known risks. They will enrich our established knowledge, technical reserves, and database. They will also provide us more theoretical and technical support. We also use traditional Chinese medicine like acupoint therapy, which adds to the healthy protection for taikonauts.
For those of you who just joined us, you're watching our special coverage of the Shenzhou 18 launch. We're less than 15 minutes to go till the launch. And as our Sun Yan earlier mentioned, all the ground staff have pulled back already. And but the rocket's still attached. Is it? Is it still attached to the launch tower? It's not running on its own just yet.
You may notice that the rotational arms in the middle of the rocket, maybe at about 3 minutes, 5 or 3 minutes, some of the arms will leave the launch vehicle and the. That I can still notice that when you talk with Ms. Sun Ye, I noticed that the commander and also his crew members are still reading the manual very carefully. Also, you know that yesterday during the conference, when the crew member meet with the media, you know that they are full of confidence, but they are not so very careful and be aware of crew members. They are reading their manual. As I mentioned, not only the normal operations and the normal procedure, but also all the conditions they must possibly to be faced. So this is this shows that they are very, very professional.
Yeah, we're approaching T-minus 5 minutes.
Okay.
There you go, the call out.
So in the coming minutes, we will have several very, very important steps, as we've already discussed. The transfer of power supply from the ground to the launch vehicle itself, and also the activation of the what we call the guidance, navigation, and control system, or the GNC system. And also, as we've already heard many times, the commander in Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center, usually we call that the Commander Zero.
Well, they've put down their face shield.
Okay, they close the face mask of the helmet. So at this moment, they have formed the second airtight sealings as a backup measure to ensure their safety.
And they're still looking at their manuals. What kind of things are on their checklist? You would assume?
There are all kinds of instructions on if you met this problem, how to solve it, how to do any right operation or the right choice.
Yeah, and it's usually very quiet at a launch control around this time, as we're getting really close to time zero. Not so much calm going on there, except for a few simple commands and the final countdown. And that's because the final status checks by now, most of them have been completed, so that's a good sign. You don't want to hear too much noises around this time.
Yeah. And also, you know that today in the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center and in other launch sites of China, we also use UAV, a manned air vehicle, to give a good sight of the launch, the whole launch procedure itself. And also, in every live coverage, we can see from our CGTN coverage, we can see the videos from the cameras mounted on the launch vehicle. So that's also a very good reference for us to ensure the status of the launch vehicle and also everything goes okay.
And you're looking at the launch
我是0
control.
号，3分钟准备。
T-3.
All right, folks. Papa D here. Just wanted to step in real quick. We've only got about 2 minutes left until the launch of the Shenzhou 18 mission atop of a Long March 2 FG. Got 3 taikonauts are going to be going to the Tiangong space station here. Just a couple minutes. Everything seems to be on time for a T0. Right now at 8:59. That'd be Eastern Daylight Time. And we're going to switch on back to it. Just wanted to stop in and say again thank you to the China Aerospace Science and CCTV to providing the feed so we can educate and excite our public. Everything looks to be good, and we've got 3 turnouts ready to make their trip to their space station. So we'll stand by, go back to the live feed. I want to thank you all for stopping by. If you're not a subscriber, please feel free to subscribe. If you already are a subscriber, we appreciate every one of you assisting us getting this page growing and out there more to the public as we continue these exciting times we live in. Let's switch back to the live feed. Thank you all.
We're approaching T-2 minutes, I guess.
Yep. This is a beautiful evening of Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center.
各号注意，我是0号，1分钟准备。
各号注意，1分钟准备。
1 minute out. An incredible moment to witness. Truly a magnificent view.
50秒。
Yeah, the weather is a bit cloudy in Jiuquan, so the reporter mentioned that we may or may not see the moon.
Yeah.
The rotational arms has already been rotated.
So the umbilicals just pulled away. This is some riveting feed there. You can see the Shenzhou 17
Yeah, as we
crew.
mentioned, they are watching the live coverage.
Yeah. And they have decorated the space station a little bit, put up welcome banners.
Yeah.
20秒。
20 seconds to go. It's a go for the launch.
Horizon line to the eastward.
Heading to
Just
the
a
Chinese
spectacular
space
view
station, the
there.
Tiangong
You can
space
see
station.
the 8 engines.
3 taikonauts aboard.
And you can hear the voices from the launch team providing tracking status, saying things are going
Beautiful
good. And that's
video
Great.
footage.
You can see the videos from the camera mounted, looking backwards.
Being
So these
provided
are the
by
side boosters.
CCTV,
Yeah,
the
we can see
Chinese
2 of
television
the,
folks.
side
We
boosters.
thank them for that.
And at about okay, I believe this moment already the pitch over has already been accomplished.
So if things goes well, we could see the escape tower being detached in just a few minutes.
We just heard that the ground stations report that everything goes okay. The flight is normal.
And we can see both the infrared image and the optical image.
Exactly. So at the moment of the 120-second will be the critical step to jettison the escape tower.
So the escape tower is essentially a small solid fuel rocket set on top of the capsule. In the event of an emergency, such as an impending explosion, it'll pull the capsule far enough away from the launch vehicle to allow for a normal parachute land.
Because at the moment of 2 minutes, it's already high enough, so we don't need the escape tower. But still, we have emergency escape engines on the payload ferry. We can see that during the live coverage previously. We can see the trail, as you mentioned, on this maybe infrared image.
Yeah, if it's during the day, we could see it very clearly, but because it's dark.
But we don't have other choices because of the launch window just lie in this moment.
Yeah. So we're relying on the infrared image now. Another critical step coming up very soon.
At the moment, 153 minutes. Okay, great.
Oh, that's the call out.
The emergency escape tower has already separated, and then will be the separation of the 4 boosters.
So you saw bright flash over there. The
Just
emergency
half a minute
escape
later.
system have been separated. indicating the initial low-level flight went pretty well.
Yeah, it's already supersonic now. Great.
Booster separation.
The separation of 4 boosters, and then the separation of the first stage.
Immediately.
助推器分离，
一二级分离，
一级
We
关
have
机
the，first
一二级
stage
分离。
separation. A successful separation.
Great. And the next critical step will be the separation of the payload fairings.
东风光学 USB 雷达跟踪正常，
Fast
遥测
few
信号正常，
minutes,
东
we've
风
seen a
飞行正
series
常
of。fast maneuvers and status reports there.
Now the combination of the Shenzhou spacecraft and the launch vehicle is flying eastwards. Oh, this is video cameras mounted on the rear part of the second stage. And this camera is inside the payload fairing, looking forward. You can see that's okay.
There you have
The
it.
separation of the payload fairing.
抛整流罩，
抛整
Roughly
流罩。
4 minutes into the flight, we are seeing fairing jettison.
神舟18号报告，整流罩分离。
So now the spacecraft is exposed in space.
北京明
I
白。
just heard the voice of Mr. Ye Guangfu, the commander. He reported that the payload fairings, now they can see the sightseeing outside. But I believe 02 and 03 have a better view.
Yeah, they've got the window seats.
Yeah. But
I
there is
wonder-
no aisle seat.
I wonder what they could see from their windows
Yeah.
now.
Usually, in the previous missions, sometimes they can entering the sunshine areas, but this moment they are still in the shadow areas of the Earth.
So in about few minutes, we're gonna see the second stage rocket being dropped. So
Well, the second stage
spacecraft
works
separation.
much longer than the first stage, more than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Now you can see this is the camera mount, the
救
video
生控
camera
制台解锁
mounted
东风光学
on the
USB
second stage.
雷达跟踪正常，遥
Is
测信
this
号
the
正常，
time that the
东
crew
风
will
飞行正
feel
常。
maximum G forces?
Usually that happens
Right
at
before
the separation
spacecraft
of stages
separation.
because at the moment the thrust has a certain number, but you know that with the fuel becomes less and less, and the acceleration becomes greater and greater. Usually at the separation of the first stage or the separation at the second stage, they will experience the maximum peak of the G forces.
So you might want to take a look at these astronauts and see just whether it'll show on their face or, you know, through their body gesture.
But the 3 to 4G is not a big problem for them.
It's nothing
they
for
will
them?
be trained for up to 8 to 10 Gs. And even in 8 to 10 G, they can do the right operations.
So the highest G load they're going to feel is around
10. In abnormal
during
cases.
the flight?
No, in this
It's
normal
around
flight,
5G?
usually 3.6.
Okay, that's not so bad.
Not so bad.
But that's already a large number for our normal people. Imagine you have 3 more people on yourself, right? So that's the loading.
Usually, how would your body react to that many G forces?
Usually, you just need to say activate more muscles. You recruit more muscle activity to work against that overgravity.
Is there anything that they can do now to offset the effect of high G forces?
I think the design of their seat and their body posture is already very helpful for them to remove the extra forces. Yeah. So if everything's normal, as we just heard, they are actually in a quite comfortable condition. Yeah, as they are very used to those in their everyday training. Yeah.
Now we can see on the left of the screen is the video camera mounted on the second stage looking backwards. Our second stage of the Long March 2F rocket have one main engine with a thrust about 80 tons. And also we have 4 vernier engines which control the attitude and the direction. So you can see the video camera monitoring the proper working of these rocket engines. Very bright, but this moment is already out of the atmosphere. Okay. Still, the Shenzhou 17 crew is watching the live coverage. They will meet after 6 or 7 hours.
Very soon, very soon.
I believe our Shenzhou 17 crew have already prepared the breakfast for our Shenzhou 18 crew.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah.
And I suppose in a few minutes after the second stage shut down, we are going to see things starting to drift, starting to float.
But you know that's the normal procedure is that we first shut down the main engine. Still, the four warning engines works, and we will adjust the trajectory. Okay, as I mentioned, the main engine shut off, and the four warning engines still working, and we will adjust the trajectory very precisely. So after several seconds, after we have already entered the right orbit, we will shut down the warning engines, and then will be the separation of the spacecraft.
Yeah, so it looks like the astronauts are feeling a bit more at ease now.
Yes, because you know that because the shutdown of the main engine, the G-forces is not so remarkable now.
Yeah, as the environment is changing from high G-forces to microgravity conditions.
So when the shutdown of the warning engine, they will experience 0 G.
Yeah, so things will start to be floating if you watch closely. Oh, that's the shot at the solar panel.
Yeah, it's still folded now.
So the next critical step would be
the shutdown of the warning engines. Okay. You can see on the bottom right is a 3D simulation, but this simulation is based on the real data, which means that the position, the attitude of the launch vehicle is representing the real status. We have 2 solar wings and each have 4 panels.
I think for the 2 new astronauts, Li Guangsu and Li Chou, this will be a very exciting moment.
Changjiang is a space tracking ship. The code, I believe it will be Yuanwang 7 space tracking ship. It's in the Pacific Ocean. And it's already established. Look on the simulation, we look at the dash lines. It's already established. Okay, great. Separation.
团件分离。
团件分离。崇高18号报告。 仪表显示，团件分离完毕。
So you can get a really good look at the spacecraft now in that 3D animation. 3 modules, right? Talk to us about it.
Yeah. So the next critical step will be the unfolding of the solar panels. So only with this operation we can have continuous power supply for the Shenzhou spaceship.
So by now the second stage is drifting away in space. The rocket has completed its tests. That send the spacecraft into the planned orbit successfully.
And also from the voice, we can hear that our Changjiang 7 or the Yuanwang 7 space tracking ship has already established stable communication with our Shenzhou spaceship.
And a big shout out to the Shenzhou 17 crew. They're watching us.
Yeah, they are more relaxed.
Because they will be getting back to Earth in a few days.
Actually, I believe they will not sleep this night because they will be very, very exciting. There are visitors.
Yeah, they'll be back in about 5 days.
Yeah.
And I believe they will bring very fresh food for them.
And they've also made rooms for their friends.
There are 6 bedrooms inside of it. 3 in the Tiangong 1,
长江7号跟踪正常，遥测信号正常。
But in China's tradition, we don't have a 0 G indicator. Usually in other countries, they have some toy to be the 0 G indicator to show it's floating everywhere.
The ground team is confirming the status with the crew and confirming the status of the spacecraft.
And Mr. Ye Guangfu, the commander, and Mr. Tao Hongbo, the commander of the Shenzhou 17 crew, both come from the second launch. This are their second flight mission.
顶山收到，东风。东风收到。3、2、1、0。
With the separation of the end stage of the rocket, the Shenzhou 18 spacecraft is already in orbit. So next, our ground team will check the accuracy of the orbital parameters. If everything is accurate enough, we can announce that it is a successful launch.
北京明白。
长程报告，太阳帆板展开正常。
太阳帆板展开正常。
Great. The solar panels are unfolded very normally.
And what comes after this? What comes next?
Next will be the examination of the, as I mentioned, we will double check or even triple check with different data resources to check the accuracy of the optical parameters. Because this accuracy is very critical for us to chasing the Tiangong space station and the dock visit.
So we cannot just declare the success just yet. We have to wait for.
We just heard his voice that the antenna for the data relay satellites has already been unfolded very normally. You know that we have a small device to keep connection with our data relay satellite, but we also have a high gain antenna which can send videos from this antenna to the Tianlian data relay satellite. This is also very important for us.
That's a big improvement compared to previous missions.
And it also ensures the very reliable connection between the ground stations and our ground centers to our Shenzhou spacecraft. You know, every mission is risky because you know that there are so many uncertainties. So keep a very smooth communication with the Space Flight Center, Control Center will be a very good insurance to keep the success of our flight mission.
Now looking at the three astronauts.
神舟18号，我是北京。
Let's listen in.
神舟18号到。
通报座舱大气环境及身体情况。
神舟18号明白。
We've just heard ground control exchanging a few words with the flight commander, trying to confirm their status.
Air quality.
座舱大气环境正常，航天员感觉良好，完毕。
Yeah, so Jiuquan just said
feeling good.
Yeah, they're feeling okay. They're feeling good.
正常。长城，我是北京，通报座舱环境。
The internal environment inside the spacecraft is also good.
北京明白。神舟18号，我是北京，经地面确认，座舱环境正常，可以打开面窗。
神舟18号明白。
We have a very important, very critical subsystem called the atmospheric control system. So as mentioned we heard the voice that the atmosphere inside the cabin is good. So they can open their face mask.
Yep. Another critical step.
You can see they are still busy reading their menu.
Yeah. I mean, a pretty young team we're looking at, in their 30s, 40s. Is this a trend? Are we going to see younger and younger astronauts in the future?
Yeah, I think we're looking forward to see the younger generation of astronauts. They are taking charge of more and more launching missions.
What's considered as a prime age range for astronauts? Or there's no such thing?
I think it depends from.
倾角41.5度，周期1小时30分钟的预定轨道，飞船座舱环境正常，航天员状态良好。北京出轨根数及分离点参数已向各方向发出。东风。东风明白。华山。
We've already got the orbital parameters as announced by the Beijing Flight Control Center. So the so the perigee is 200 kilometers, and the apogee is 356 kilometers, and the inclination is 41.5 degrees. So it's a very accurate launch.
It'll take an hour and a half, right, for them.
So they will spend 6.5 hours in orbit to chase our Tiangong space station and finally dock to the docking port at the bottom of our node.
And that'll be an automated rendezvous?
In normal cases, it will be a automatic one. But if anything wrong happens to the automated docking system, as you mentioned, we will switch to the manual docking. And all these crew members were well trained for this operation.
This is the Beijing Aerospace Flight Center. So after the launch, they will be taking over the monitoring job. We're still standing by for an official confirmation declaring the launch as a success.
Well, after coming into orbit of our Shenzhou spacecraft, the control will be switch from our Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center to Beijing Flight Control Center.
So Beijing will take over.
Yeah.
Right.
I guess the ground team are doing some calculations, maybe some adjustment burns
Exactly.
for the spacecraft.
As I mentioned, we based on different data resources to confirm the accuracy of each orbital parameter to ensure that it is accurate enough. Because as we've already discussed, the Shenzhou spacecraft must enter the same orbital plane of our Tiangong space station. So this is the most essential and most important requirement to its accuracy. And then, because it is now lower than our Tiangong space station, so it orbiting the Earth faster than our Tiangong space station. So it is a chasing vehicle, and it comes closer and closer, and after 6.5 hours, we will dock together.
天路跟踪正常，遥测信号正常。
天路跟踪正常。
Tianlu is another name of our Tianlian data relay satellite system. So at this moment, it's already out of the coverage of our space tracking ship, and it is mainly based on our Tianlian data relay satellite. As we've already heard the voice, that the high gain antenna has already been unfolded. So at this moment, we can transfer not only the voices, but also can transfer the videos from our cabin of our Shenzhou spacecraft.
Right. You know, China has this three-step strategy for its space exploration. And third phase, which is the last phase, is building its space station. Can we say that we've met that target? What's next for our space exploration?
Yes, we've already accomplished this step. And next, as we mentioned, we are now in the phase of utilization and development. But still, we have a lot of work in the future. For instance, our Tiangong space station will be expanded, doubled in the future.
We're now joined by Professor Mark McCong-Reed, a former senior advisor for science and exploration at the European Space Agency in the Netherlands. Great to have you with us, Professor. Now, the Shenzhou 18 has just launched. We are standing by for an official confirmation of the launch success. But what significance does it have for space exploration?
Well, assuming everything's gone well, which it sounds like it has, congratulations to the crew and everybody involved. Going back to the space station, of course, you have 3 astronauts there already waiting for them, and then you will change the crew for another 6-month expedition, as they're often called, on the Chinese space station. This is very similar to what we've been doing for many years, of course, with the International Space Station. And as one of your speakers there just said, this is about building capacity, expanding the space station, and doing research and development, both on the space station, scientifically, doing interesting things there. In fact, one thing, as an astronomer, one thing I'm really excited about is the Zhuntian Space Telescope, which should be launched to Tiangong, not docked to it, but nearby to it, and doing some very interesting scientific astronomy experiments over the years to come. But it's about that development, building the station, making it an efficient place to do science, but also looking forward, I imagine, to the moon and Mars.
Now, China has said astronauts from other countries are welcome to go to the China space station. It says it is committed to the peaceful development in space. How would you assess prospects for international collaboration in space exploration?
Well, that's a very interesting question, of course, particularly given the current geopolitical context. without going into too much depth, the world is not perhaps in a happy place at the moment. And exactly how nations decide to collaborate on many things, of course, is something which is constantly in focus politically. And space is a political thing. We should never just think of it in terms of science or exploration. There is a strong political element. But I think it's also worth looking back to the past and looking, for example, at the Apollo-Soyuz test project in the 1970s and the space station itself, the International Space Station, where, of course, the United States and Russia at the moment have grave differences over the war in Ukraine, but are still collaborating in space. So it's not an easy thing to see into the future and see how that international collaboration may also include China. But I'm optimistic that we'll find ways of doing that, because the things we want to do in space are incredibly challenging and do indeed need to bring nations together to solve some of those problems. And those problems then reflect on the Earth. We have problems on the Earth we need to solve. So being able to collaborate internationally in space also might give us hope we can collaborate internationally, for example, on climate change. So I think it's a tricky question, but let's be optimistic and see that we can actually work together.
Yeah, let's be optimistic. Thank you very much, Professor Mark McCaw-Green. Thank you very much for taking the time talking to us. We appreciate your perspectives. Now, Yang Liwei, the Deputy Chief Designer of China's manned space program, talked to CGTN reporter Zheng Yibing on international cooperation in space programs, including China's manned lunar landing. Listen in.
From the perspective of manned space flights, international cooperation is a well-established practice. It is true for our country and also space powers like the United States and Russia, which are cooperating even under such tense international circumstances. So we actually, from the early days till now, when we have a space station, have been seeking cooperation even though there's a lot of international constraint. Therefore, we took a path of self-reliance. For manned lunar landing, we discussed its feasibility around 2010 and 2011, and we're looking for international cooperation. We hope that different countries and institutions can join us in the whole lunar landing program, complement each other's efforts, promote the development of this cause, and explore the unknown for human beings. So I hope more countries and institutions will join us.
Stay with us for more of our live coverage on the Space Shenzhou 18 launch mission. And now for more on the top stories making headlines around the world.
All right, folks, Papa D here. As you see, we've had a successful launch. The Chinese have had one. Shenzhou 18 is launched and is on its way to the Tiangong space station with 3 Taigonauts on board. That's Crew 18, of course. They will be with Crew 17, 3 other Taigonauts, for the next 5 days, and then the Crew 17 will return back to China. The spacecraft right now is, again, it's on its way to the space station. It's got about a 6.5-hour flight prior to reaching their space station. That would put it at somewhere around 3:15-ish. That's Central Daylight Time. At that point, they indicate that the flight will be automated. I'll cut out some of the background there for now. It's an automated approach. Just checking the notes on that, but it's an automated approach. They certainly have the ability to take over if need be, but very similar to the Dragon approaches to the International Space Station. As you can see by the capsule, they certainly as far as design and all, takes its lead from the Soyuz for obvious reasons. And there was some discussion about international cooperation. The Chinese decided to go it alone, and they have their own space station. And, anything that furthers the knowledge is certainly a good thing. And we only hope that one day we can all, come together a little bit. Not to get too political, that's not what this channel's about. But certainly there's a lot going on in space, takes a lot. It's a very tough thing. We all have our goals. Certainly we have our goals to go to the moon, Mars, and beyond. And we hope one day that we can all do a little bit of this together and, make it all a better place, I guess. Again, but this launch of Shenzhou 18 was a success. No problems that we could see or that we were told about. And the 3 astronauts are on the way. And they've got a little trip ahead. We're going to carry the live coverage here for a little bit longer. Then we will take a break from that. Just want to let you know we also do have a launch coming up this afternoon. If you want to hit the notify button, you can. It's on the channel. And that is going to be the launch out of Vandenberg. And that is Worldview Legion 1 and 2. It was scheduled for yesterday, was pushed to today, 2:30 T0 time. That's Eastern Daylight Time. We will certainly carry that. If you want to stop on by, we'd love to have you all here. If you're a subscriber, I want to thank you again. If you're not a subscriber, please feel free. We look forward to sharing as many of the launches as we possibly can, especially being here in Central Florida. We have the ability to go out to the Cape. We certainly do a lot of filming from our location here at our studio, and we look forward to bringing that to you as much as possible. And to the viewers, if you have a chance, I keep saying it, certainly we love having you here, and we are very appreciative that you've decided to come enjoy our channel. And we're going to keep growing and doing the best we can to keep bringing you coverage. We've got a podcast we're going to be working on here very shortly, a weekly update at least, if not more. Going to be getting some assistance on that. The channel has certainly become a full-time gig, although we're a long ways from making it at some of the levels that some of the players are out there. But we're just having a good time and enjoying the family that we've put together. Right now we're getting ready to pass through 18,000 subscribers, which is amazing, and we are appreciative of every one of you that have taken the time to subscribe to the page, come out and view the videos. Those views are killer important. The watch time is important, and we are certainly growing, and very appreciative of all of you for doing that. And if you're not a subscriber yet, hit the subscribe button, hit that notify bell, and we'll notify you whenever anything comes live, and we'll bring that to your attention so you don't miss anything, at least anything that we have. If you also have the time and are so inclined, please go out and visit daviddeliversspace.store. Links also on the channel. Help support the channel. We have some really great merchandise out there, and we'd love if you took a look at it. And again, all that goes to support the channel, the bandwidth, the equipment upgrades, all the things we're trying to do to bring you the coverage that I think you're enjoying. With that said, we'll cut back to the feed here, see where they're at, and like I said, pretty soon we'll probably cut the stream. They've got about a 6-hour, at this point, ride ahead of them, and we may be able to pick up at the end when the docking takes place. We'll see if that feed is made available to us. Again, thanks again to the CCTV people, Chinese Aerospace, for providing the video coverage. And we'll cut back here for a little bit longer, see where they're at. Thanks again, folks. Do appreciate you coming by today, and enjoy.
怎样？
动腰感觉良好。
明白。栋梁，我是一间医生，你现在自我感觉怎样？
栋梁感觉良好。
栋三，我是一间医生，你现在自我感觉怎样？
栋三感觉良好。
明白。栋幺、栋两、栋三，请注意限制头动、眼动，请注意按标配食品进食。
栋幺明白。栋两明白。栋三明白。
通话完毕。
北京曙光报告。我是北京曙光，请讲。
曙光与神舟18号通话完毕。
北京明白。
长城报告，飞船转自主交会正常启动。
北京明白。各号注意，我是北京，飞船转自主交会正常启动，具备实施3圈自主原导条件。
神舟18号报告，动腰准备打开返回舱舱门平衡阀，完毕。
北京明白。报告回返2舱压力。
轨道舱压力为92.77，返回舱压力为95.08，完毕。
北京明白。
长城报告，轨道舱环境正常，满足打开返回舱舱门平衡阀条件。
北京明白。神舟18号，我是北京。
神舟18号到。
轨道舱环境正常，可以打开返回舱舱门平衡阀。
神舟18号明白。 气调压可见。排气节止阀为调压，气压节止阀在关闭。
明白。排气调压，气压关闭。正确。排气调压，气压维持在关闭。正确。排气调压，好嘞。
神舟18号报告，返回舱舱门屏风阀已打开，返回舱排气节止阀设为调压，气压节止阀维持关闭，关闭。
北京明白。
长城报告，回返两舱压力平衡，满足打开返回舱舱门条件。
北京明白。
连接。
长城报告，飞船状态正常，具备实施自主轨控条件。
北京明白。各号注意，飞船状态正常，按正常计划实施第一次自主变轨。
可以，它这个飘的不影响你观察。好。
神舟18号，我是北京。
神舟18号到。
飞船10分钟后使用 A 组发动机进行第一次变轨，请固定物品，系好束缚带。
神舟18号明白。对，说的还是固定。
All right, folks. Liz Papa D coming back to you again. And at this point, we are pretty much going to cut the stream at this time anyway. The launch from China was a success. A little bit less there. Alrighty, but we were a success there. The Shenzhou 18 launched on time, and it is on its way to the Tiangong space station with the 3 Taigonauts aboard, replacing the Crew 17, or as we would call it, Expedition 17. Launch was on time, about 8:59 this morning, Eastern Daylight Time. And the expected cruise time for the capsule is about, right now, under 6 hours, I believe. They're looking at a docking and an arrival at about 3:15. We will be probably picking that up later in the evening because we do have a launch from Vandenberg at 2:30, a SpaceX launch that we are going to carry live also. So for now, I want to thank CCTV, the Chinese folks, for making their video available so we can bring that on board and educate and excite the public with something a little different. We're going to try to carry more of these launches as we can, as time permits. But a success today. Thank you to them again. We appreciate that. And want to thank, as always, the subscribers. Want to thank also any new subscribers. And before I forget, meteoblue. meteoblue gave us the authorization to use their data and their weather maps, which we brought to you earlier. And we thank meteoblue. Don't want to ever forget that. For giving us that opportunity and that continued opportunity as our broadcasts come out. But thank you to you all. And again, if you hit the notify button on any of the videos upcoming, we will certainly notify you that they're going live. And that's not just those videos, but if you ring the bell, you'll also be notified of any updated videos or any activity on the page. We'd love to have you come out and join the family and share it with us. So with that, I will say good afternoon from Central Florida. It's about 9:45 our local time here, and we will go live at about 2:15, assuming that the Vandenberg shot of Worldview Legion 1 and 2 goes off on time at 2:30. Any changes, we'll make those updates to the page, and you'll be notified accordingly. So thanks again for coming by this morning. Appreciate y'all. Hope you enjoyed yourselves. Look forward to seeing you back real soon in just a few mere hours. Have a great day. Take care.